Democrats yesterday, they used their voices, holding, quote, a nobody elected Elon rally outside the U.S. Treasury building. They're vowing to fight what they call a hostile seizure of power by Elon Musk. Since Friday, the billionaire has gained access to payment systems at the Treasury Department and has been the driving force behind the closure of the government's leading international humanitarian aid agency.
When we open up the Senate every single morning, we don't pledge allegiance to the billionaires. We don't pledge allegiance to Elon Musk. We don't pledge allegiance to the creepy 22-year-olds working for Elon Musk. We pledge allegiance to the United States of America. And so I want to make sure that my mother gets her Social Security check, not because she pledges allegiance to Elon, but because she pledges allegiance to the United States of America. I want to make sure your neighbor gets their tax refund, not because they pledge allegiance to the billionaire class, but because they pledge allegiance to the United States of America.
A few months ago, Elon Musk spent $280 million to buy an election for Donald Trump. Now, Elon Musk is here to collect on his investment. He is here to seize power for himself. We are here to fight back.
Chris Murphy, Senator Murphy, that you saw there, will be our guest at the top of the next hour of Morning Joe. Meanwhile, top Republicans in the Senate are defending Musk's actions, insisting he's not in charge and that Congress will have to approve any major changes.
Elon Musk is he reminds me of a strategist that I used to engage in big transformation projects back when I was in the private sector. He's throwing out big ideas. And if anybody thinks that all of these big ideas are going to be implemented to conclusion, they don't understand the process of disruption. He is identifying some things that I do think need to be looked at, and many of those things would require congressional. Everybody's acting like Congress doesn't exist anymore.
Do you and the other senators know what
thinking about will require congressional approval to actually structurally change them? But I'm glad people are asking questions, because I'm sick of people for the last 10 years I've been here looking the other way.
Actually, I think he's been a very positive influence and lent his notoriety to raise the visibility of the excessive spending and waste and fraud in the way the federal government does its business. Obviously, he doesn't have the authority to legislate, and that's going to be up to Congress. But I think his highlighting some of these stories has been and will continue to be very helpful.
So wait, the speaker earlier was saying it was so complicated, and so they do have the power to approve these things. Which is it with these Republicans? I can't tell. Are they powerful? Are they strong? Can they hold the line? Can they protect the Constitution, or maybe not? Can't tell. Joining us now, MSNBC political analyst Anand Giridharadas. He is publisher of the newsletter, The Ink, available on Substack. Anand, where do we begin? There's a lot going on. And Elon Musk, it seems that Republicans are kind of tiptoeing around him, but they actually do say, when you ask about Elon Musk, that things actually have to be approved, that there is a process. But you ask them about purges or USAID or all these other things that are happening, and it's not much to say. So which is it? And is Elon Musk getting under their skin?
Yeah, I woke up very early this morning to come see you, and I was trying to think about exactly what you were saying before, the onslaught, right? The onslaught that we've been promised. Steve Bannon telegraphed they would be trying to flood the zone. He said specifically they would be trying to overwhelm the media's capacity. And I was trying to think about what I wanted to write this morning about how we find that signal amid the noise, as you were saying, and looking at all these things from trade wars that are stupid and ill-advised to, frankly, the ethnic cleansing that the president proposed yesterday in the Gaza Strip to turn it into the third 51st state that he has proposed. All these things. But I think one of these things is not like the other. And I think Elon Musk, right now, it should be said, is waging an anti-constitutional coup in this country, attempting to usurp, as a wealthy private citizen, the power of Congress. Frankly, he's usurping some of the president's power, but he's certainly usurping Congress's power. He is unilaterally trying to go in to agencies and shut them down, not advise, but go in physically into offices, secure access to information in the Treasury Department, elsewhere, that he is not entitled to, that he does not have clearance for. He is nobody to the American constitutional order, and yet he is trying to unravel it. And I think amid all the attentional pressures of the onslaught that you rightly named, we need to focus on this, because this is an attack on the system that decides all the other systems, the system that decides whether we go to war or not, the system that decides, whether people are fired or not. This is the meta threat. And lastly, I will say, I think a lot of us in particularly the traditional elements of the media, and I, like many of us around the table, straddle both, have struggled to name this. Particularly our newspapers, our old, venerable newspapers, are struggling to name this very clearly. There's a kind of old thing of, well, he proposed this, and some call it this old form of reporting. A coup is a word with a meaning. We have no problem in America describing it when it happens in Africa. We should be able to describe it when it happens here.
So now let's also, of course, remember, Elon Musk received not a single vote. He has not been confirmed to any position. He has a nebulous White House job. He doesn't even draw a government paycheck. He's a private citizen. And as I wrote this week, too, about him, the headline, he's president. He's acting like he's president right now. That Musk has been empowered in a way by Trump. Trump willing to let Musk take some arrows for some criticism he might receive, but he is broadly reshaping the institution and slashing the institutions of this government. Tom Tillis said people act like Congress doesn't exist anymore. In this case, it's not. Congress has rolled over here for Trump and Musk. We did see, though, for the first time, perhaps, in the 2 weeks that Trump has been in office, Democrats have found their voice. They've really pushed back against this. Do you, as someone who has counseled them to be more active, is this something, do you think they're doing it the right way? What more do they need to be saying to call attention to everything Musk is laying waste to right now?
I mean, first of all, the Democrats' transition from being asleep during a coup to being awake during a coup is a trend in the right direction. Being awake is certainly preferable to being asleep. And some of that, I think Chris Murphy has been someone who's been a real leader early in this. You had Senator Brian Schatz this week, his colleague, talking about using the power to confirm or not confirm appointees, using that against these kind of anti-constitutional maneuvers. So that's great. But at the end of the day, the Democratic Party right now is completely leaderless. And they can say that, well, we have a lot of leaders. But that's not really what a leader is. They have to show. They've elected someone who was sort of, I think, bland, if you just ask regular people. And there's no real clear message. There's no real clear sense of fight. You still have these messages of, well, we got to trust in God, or, well, we'll pass a law to regulate the Treasury. There's no understanding that this is a very serious, concerted, anti-constitutional coup being waged by very determined actors. And it is going to take, as I was saying in the media, a level of seeing and clarity in the media, but it's going to take among the Democratic Party a level of fight, a willingness to use tactics. I think probably having some kind of clear leader who speaks out of the morass for everyone to be able to be adequate to responding to this anti-constitutional coup.